When you hear that sound, you know it's time for us to talk about money. And I love talking about money, but I love getting more money than talking about it. I love to find out how I can get more money. I know there's a song, more money, more problem. Don't worry, we'll face the problem, but let's have the money first. This is personal finance here on Smooth 98.1. My name is Joy. Ray. Today, like I said, in personal finance, we'll be looking at the right path to saving and investing, especially in 2026. Things are a little crazy right now. Well, this is April. It's April. This is the 15th day in April. We're halfway gone through April, by the way. And it's it's almost as if we're leaving. I don't want to use the term that I hear on the outside. Some people say they're living from hand to mouth. I don't believe that. But we're living in an era of energy price shocks that are hitting our pockets like, oh my days. And it's again a reminder that you need to build a nest egg for you to survive whatever situation you are dealing with right now. And that's the only way to protect yourself. So today we'll be talking about the right path to saving and investing. And thankfully, I have my guest with me in the studio in the person of Taufik Subair. He is an investment research analyst, I beg your pardon, at Pathway Asset Management Limited. Good evening, Taufik, and good to have you here.
Hi, good evening.
I need you to speak with all the energy you have into the mic. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Yeah, good evening.
All right, good stuff. Lagos, you also are part of a conversation. How are you managing? What are you doing? Do you have savings? I know you use your debit card. They'll ask you savings or card. That's the first thing you hear whenever it is you're trying to make some payments. Savings or current? So are you truly saving so you can enjoy the proceeds, or is it just the answering naming quote? But we'll get into all that conversation. So let's start with saving and investment. We've always been told to save. We've also been told to look for the right investments to put our monies into. What is the right mental approach where savings and investments are concerned?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So when we talk about saving and investment, so saving and investment is a function of your disposable income. So whenever you get your disposable income, you need to have allocation on
Okay.
what are you consuming. It has to be like a fraction that okay, I want to take this to take on my weekly expense or monthly expense. I want to take this to manage the family, and most especially, you need to have a certain percentage that you want to commit into long-term investment because at the end of the day, money problem does not end. So
More money, more problem.
yeah,
I like that. Truth be heard, it never ends. You only need to know how best to manage it. And that is thankfully why you're here to help us understand the concept behind it, how we need to make sense of it, especially right now where it's almost as if your savings or you're taking out of it with the energy, well, not just the energy prices going up, you know what I mean. So some people will say that Nigeria is a stressful place. I can't say for certain if everyone can say that, if they experience that. But here's something I'd like to ask. How can one now prioritize their saving and investments while still dealing with all the bills that come through? And as you mentioned, we have other commitments that could just come up from nowhere. You're not planning for it, but it comes up. How do we survive that?
okay. So so what comes to my mind, right, when we were trying to frame the question? So most people believe I'm not earning enough, that I just have to manage whatever I have now to take care of my expenses.
Right.
But that is not the usual way to go about it
Mm.
because you need to have a culture of what saving, regardless of what you are earning. There should be a portion that you want to commit regularly. because it is very painful sometimes.
Mm,
It is very painful sometimes. But if you can go through that route over time, it will amount to something. And one thing again I would like to add,
right.
most people believe the way you can grow your money is by time. And you can make time to work
Hmm.
for you or time work against you. So the way you make time work for you is whatever you have now that you want to put into investments,
Right.
you can put it in that investment and over time it will grow. Because it should be long
Okay.
term. But most people feel like, oh, I'll just put my money there today and it
Sharp,
will
sharp
just
returns.
no. You just buy the hype and you can just crash and be building the bag, which you don't want to because there are two
Ouch.
concepts to managing money.
Okay.
You want to ensure that your capital is safe. That is key.
Mm,
You don't want to lose your capital for anything.
okay.
So the return is a plus, but you need to ensure your capital is really safe. And over time, the capital will grow if you can allow it to manifest in that investment.
I like the fact that you say we should allow it to grow, but only if you know how to make it grow. And talking about making it grow, um, as a not as a working class person right now, or even a business, an entrepreneur
Okay.
who is trying to make life easy for themselves, saving for the future, saving for their family, you're looking at not just getting the right investment, you're looking at retirement. Everyone says, I want to retire early. If I can get all the money I have, put them in the right places, get the investments working for me, I should be able to retire, say, at the age of 25. Why am I stressing? So I'll be sitting on a lounge somewhere, just enjoying the life of my head. You know the Yoruba term, right?
Soft life.
So yes, most people want to enjoy that. They don't want to have to stress so hard. But when we look at that, right, is it too early to think of retirement? And especially depending on one's age?
So when where the age really matter is
Mm.
when you want to look at the asset class that you want to deploy your fund. But regardless of your age, the best time is to start now.
Oh,
The best time, if you have started, fine and good. You will even make testament that this thing has worked.
okay.
But if you have not started, this is an opportunity to start.
Start now.
Yes, because you are going to um, get better when you earn passive income. When you don't have to
Mm.
work, you can earn money over the weekend when you have some investment working for you.
Who wouldn't like that? Just thinking about that now. I'm sitting during the weekend. I'm not having to lift a muscle. I'm just relaxing, and there's money being made for me. Hmm.
Very possible.
Make that sound so delicious. Just thinking about it. When you say it's so possible. Now let's talk about the age range. I said 25 because you have you actually have people who have retired at that age. I saw it and I was wondering how someone got to that point at so early in their life. Meanwhile, some people are still in their 60s. They've not even touched quarter, not to even talk. I don't want to say half, quarter of what those ones have done. So, what is it that those ones did or are doing that anyone, like you just said, we can get there now or we can start now? What is it that we need to start doing now to get to El Dorado or at least to our rest stage?
Okay, thank you very much. So like for every asset management, so like pathway asset management, we have our investment policy. So when we are getting you on board, we tend to understand your age. Then
Okay.
when we get your age, we can now advise you on what assets you need to start investing in. Yes,
Mm,
so when we give you that timeline, you understand the risk and return. And
mm.
so you don't need to even bother so much about how these assets work. All you just need to do is get the fund to us. We know how to manage, we call it monitor the market. When we have a portfolio, when we can diversify, what's it called?
Your
Your
portfolio.
investment.
Okay.
So when we see opportunity in the physical space, we key into it because we are professionals, we know everything going in the micro event. And if you notice that there's an opportunity in the stock market like what we are seeing now, it is a boom. People are making money.
Mm. Since it makes money. uh, I'm sure we'll touch more later on that. But you know what? Let's even just look at that now. Talking about that, is there like a particular amount one needs to have? Because if I'm looking at retiring early, Does that mean that I need to have one humongous amount to invest into the market, or can I start with something minimal?
You can start with even 5,000 naira. So what matters,
Okay.
what really matters is not about the amount. The first thing is you need to have a mindset
Mm-hmm.
that you need to have an objective, which is retiring early.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you have the mindset, you know that you need to commit a certain amount of money into saving.
Okay.
And when you over time, you also want to look for a way to get what's it called better income because it's the
Mm-hmm.
foundation. Because if you have stake in the company's equity and the company like the
It's
market
not
like maybe like 10% today
okay.
and you only have just maybe 10,000 naira, it means what you just
It's
add to
just
your
a
it's
fraction.
just a fraction. But if you are consistent with that, you're able to get better income, you deploy the money,
Mm-hmm.
right? You just imagine that 10% would mean even a million naira addition to your holding.
And that, Lagos, is how you start to save right. And if you're just tuning in, this is Personal Finance and Smooth 98.1. My name is Joy Uri. And today we're talking about the right path to saving and investing in 2026. My guest this evening is Taufik Subair. He is an investment research analyst at Pathway Asset Management Limited, and he's been giving us great insights on things we need to have, at least things we need to know. Now let's talk about securities. You talked a bit about stocks, and stocks seem to be doing good so far in the Nigerian market. The market was positive as of yesterday, and it was up to 32.27% so far this year. And the market seems to be going up. At least so far, it's gone up to 51% from last year. What is really driving the appreciation in the stock market? Is there something we're doing right, or is there investors rather coming in more now?
Okay, so looking at the Nigerian market generally, specifically with the equity market. So what has happened with the equity market is that we've seen the policy that the government embarked on, and it has now materialized now. When you look at the FSPs, you could see from our reserve that the reserve is very resilient.
Mm.
It's very resilient, meaning the central bank they have enough capacity to support the naira so that it doesn't, fall within
Oh,
certain level. So, and that is going to affect most companies, especially those in the manufacturing sectors, that they need to import some of their inputs
mm.
at a very decent rate, which is going to give their margin strength. So those companies that are listed, they are very resilient because they have good margin, which is going to impact in their bottom line, which is going to amount to good earnings to investors. So that is the fundamental part supporting the rally we are seeing in the market. If you
Mm.
look at the consumer goods sector, you will see the appreciation there. And again, more importantly, if you look at the events happening globally,
Right.
that's the what's it called now?
The
The
Iran,
Iran,
Israel, what?
Iran,
Yes,
Iran,
US.
yes. So
Mm.
that is also shaping the market because if you look at people, investors, they are very enlightened. They are taking position in the oil and gas sectors
Right.
because they believe that okay, now that the upstream, they are now making more money more than what they could have made if there was no tension in the market. But the flip side is that it might start affecting other aspects of the market.
Aspects.
So that's why you need a professional that we know where the true opportunity lies, so that you don't end up holding the bag or catching a falling knife.
Hopefully, you do not fall flat on your face. We'll take a quick breather when we get back in. We will touch more on the things we need to be cautious about. Yeah, he's touched on one. You don't want to be holding the bag, and then you're seeing that the bag is not holding. We'll touch on that on the other side of this quick breather. Like our stomach muscle. Hold on. Guards PLC rights issue offer. That's all. Guinea Insurance PLC rights issue offer. Claim your rights for the Guinea Insurance of 5,295,200,000 shares for just
$10 per share on a 2 for fee basis. What? Hey, all right, go. Take care. The Kidney Insurance PLC rights issue of a open since in March 25 and go in for May 1, 2026. Invest today in Kidney Insurance PLC. Visit www.guineainsurance.com or call now 0906 926 3660. Guinea Insurance PLC, exceeding your expectations. It's all about your finances made easy because financial education is about not working for money. Personal finance on Smooth 98.1.
It is 32 minutes. Campus 5 Lagos. You are still tuned in to Personal Finance here on Smooth 98.1. My name is Joy Uriye. Taufik Subair is my guest this evening, and he is an investment research analyst at Pathway Asset Management Limited. And we are taking a look at how to save right and invest right so we do not lose our monies. And well, we've touched on the stock market, looking at the ups, downs, and somehow you're not losing your hair. And if you've been investing in the stock market, what have you been doing right? Well, talking about being carried away, you did touch on how it is that you need to know the right investment house to put your funds into. But what would be your note of caution to anyone who is a first timer who's trying to get into the stock market as an investor? It's a new space, new horizon. Do you think they should do their homework, or they should just trust find a trusted financial house to help them go through all the nitty gritty and just sit back?
Okay, so my advice would be to get an expert that can manage your investment,
Okay.
because sometimes most of us we want to, like, let me just do it myself, let me see if it works. Sometimes it might be very dangerous, because if you don't
Mm.
understand the market, if you don't have the knowledge driving the market, because most people just they end up buying the hype. You can just run across maybe a news about a certain company that, wow, this
Mm-hmm.
company is doing very well. But the only time a news comes to the market is when the company has done very well. But what experts do differently is that they take position very early when the news is not out there, when nobody was seeing, when it was not obvious. So by the time you just see the news, it is too late.
So that means you need to do your research before investing and, well, groundwork more or less. It's not when the ovation is high you want to tap in. You want to do that from when it's still growing and see how your monies
Definitely.
will
And
will
that is
grow
where
for you.
like passive asset management comes in.
Right, right, right. Now let's look at fixed income. Now that one can be a bit tricky. So how should one approach sovereign bonds? We keep hearing bonds are something you want to invest in. It's great stuff, but really, how should one approach bonds issued by Nigeria versus corporate bonds issued by businesses?
Okay, so bonds issued by the government, that's
Mhm.
the sovereign bond. So the risk is like it is like risk free. There is no much risk attached to it because the
Okay.
government will always be liquid. They can always, make payments when it falls due. So, but for corporate bond, basically, like, so
Right.
for you are going to take more risk because corporate bonds, anything could go wrong based on their rating.
Mhm.
It depends on the ratings. There are some that we have investment grade, while some we just have maybe high yield grade. So, depending on the risk you are willing to take, will determine the amount of return that you can get.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
But more, what is interesting about bond is
right.
that the best time to key into bond is when we have a high interest environment. That should have been maybe during the previous administration where we saw bond yields
Where
above
we have it,
20%.
yes.
So what smart investors do during those periods? They key in, they go long to secure the return. So if now they stand a chance of getting 25%. for the next 10 years. Imagine what the rate is saying now. Rate is less than 17%. And imagine you don't even need to take more risks because that 25%, maybe you need to even come to maybe more risky assets to get it now. But what smart investors do,
Did that
they
time.
don't swat.
They
Position themselves, key into it, go long, and be smiling to the bank every 6 months.
Smiling to the bank. Who doesn't want to smile to the bank? Well, let me take your thoughts. It's always important. It's always interesting to get your perspective. 0911 That is the WhatsApp number to share on your thoughts on the conversation tonight, this evening. I beg your pardon. Gilbert Musa, good evening. Says on the continuous rise in the stock market since 2024, the question is how sustainable is this trend? Because in 2009 till 2016, we experienced a decline in the level of individual participation in stock investments. Has the level of individual participation increased since 2015 till date?
Okay, so what we've seen based on the data,
Right.
so participation has increased. There is a lot of interest in the Nigerian market.
Awesome.
So both from foreign and even more importantly, local. We have now seen institutions now come to the market even more. And we've even seen reform with the pension. They are now allocating more funds into the equity market. So there is liquidity, there is participation, and gone are the days where there will be like something like capital flight based on foreign portfolio leaving because there is a lot of participation locally. So we are able to, even if the foreign guys are pulling out,
even when
we don't even notice because if you check the what's it called now, the fraction of the foreign guys, they're not
a fraction actually now compared to how it was before.
Yeah, initially it was them deciding where the market is moving. If they leave, everything crashes. But now there is more stability in the market.
So Gilbert Musa, I hope that answers your question. Now, that for me is actually great stuff. Seeing that you have more individuals who are investing right now in the Nigerian market, they're not afraid. They're putting their money's where their mouth is. But let's talk about the money market, which are treasury bills. What should be the savings and investment approach to that?
So for money market, basically, so what money market do for investor is that they allow you to benefit high return, like high rates with your small money. So what I mean is that imagine I have 5 million naira today and I want to approach a bank to do fixed deposit. Maybe the bank will tell me that my money is small, I'll give you 10%.
Okay.
But now that I'm in a money market setting where my little amount with other people's money is taken to the market in bulk, so we can able to negotiate good rates. So it's smart for me in the sense that if I have my money, I just put my money in money market instrument like pathway money markets. You just put it there. It's liquid. You can withdraw your money anytime and get decent return. The return that you need like 50 million naira to attract, because if you look at the what's it called now, the treasury bill, if you want to participate in the auction, at least you need to have like 50 million minimum. The same rates you are getting with your 5,000.
Impressive. When you think about it in that light, it makes more sense. And that is only if you have the right people to show you the path that you need to take. Talking about path, so if we're looking at a theoretical portfolio, what should that include? Is there any need? I know once upon a time, a lot of people were looking at how they needed to get foreign exchange. They needed to have that as part of their portfolio. Is that something that we need to have as part of our portfolio right now? I know stocks are there, bonds, treasury bills, but what else should we be adding to our portfolio? What should it look like to have a beautiful balance?
Okay, so aside from the exposure of the portfolio, what's it called, the portfolio now to maybe the equity market and the fixed income market. So if I get your question right, you are saying if you need to hold maybe foreign exchange. Yes, so for foreign exchange, I think the foreign exchange you want to have in your portfolio will be for something you want to take care of your immediate expense in dollars. It's not something you want to go
Ah,
long. And the reason is because the Naira has been appreciating over
okay.
dollar.
Okay.
Imagine you have been holding your dollar for a
Mm,
while now and
mm. Oh
imagine.
yeah.
And
I know
let's say the
some
funny
people
thing
that
is
complain about that.
the return you can get by for investing in dollar is not very attractive when you compare it to what you can get when you invest in naira and convert it. So it's
Mm,
smart to even go long in
okay.
naira at the
Okay.
moment. And if you look at what's it called, the outlook like, there is a lot of reserve. Looking at the reserve of over 48 billion that can sustain us for even 9 months. And so it's so resilient. And if you look at the body language of the CBN, they are not ready to give it up. They are ready to double down to ensure that the naira continue to strengthen.
Hmm. All right. So, what's the outlook that we need to have going forward, especially for anyone who's trying to get into this market? Um, how often should they be following the market steadily, or should they just, like I said, fold their hands, give it to the right people, like fund managers like yourself? So, is that what they should do, or do they need to even have themselves look into this?
Yeah, so the two of them, they need to do both. So what I mean is, first on a personal level, they need to have knowledge of how investment works and how
Okay.
value is created.
Hmm.
Because when they know how value is created, they will understand how to look at investment. Because most people they feel like, oh, let me just buy it today, or let me just, and they want to see what will make your money grow over time is compounding. Because when you earn, you get interest, and the
And
interest starts gaining interest. So
interest.
that compounding will allow you to grow. So
Mm-hmm.
it just depends on what you want to do. You want to look at yourself and
Okay.
say, this is my objective, and I want to I want to be conservative. Maybe I want to have a portfolio where I want to grow my money in
Mm-hmm.
fixed income. And if I get a return, I want to move
Mm-hmm.
it into risky assets like maybe stocks.
Okay.
Because if you are too concerned about your capital and feel like what happens if my capital
Oof.
maybe I cannot stand it so that it doesn't affect
It could be
your
very
it doesn't affect your stability. So
can be
maybe
tricky.
yeah, so you also want to be fine at least my capital is safe. Let me deploy this money into maybe stocks.
Something.
But
Okay.
the best way to go about it, yes, is still to go through your what or your fund
Fund
manager
manager.
because they are the one that will help you to grow the fund very fast because they know where your best opportunity lies,
Okay.
so they know how to key in, manage your fees income, manage your exposure into equity market. So that's the best way to go about it, and you don't even pay too much compared to the return that you are
You
going to be
actually
getting.
get. Thank you so much for all that insight this evening. It's been a great conversation so far. Lagos, this is where we draw a curtain on on personal finance. I hope you've gotten an insight into how you need to save right and invest right as well. I want to say a very big thank you to Taufik for giving us all that insight. But how can people reach out to you? Say they need more insight. What's your social media handle that they need to get they need to follow through to know how best they can, you know, tap into the market basically.
Okay, so you can always reach us. So we have our website, so pathwayassetmanagement.ng.
Okay.
So that's where you can reach us. But we are also on our social media. We are on Instagram. So
Okay.
when you check Pathway Asset Management
Right.
on Instagram, you have us there. So when you check Pathway Care, or as
When check pathway care, you find them all there. Well, thank you, Lagos, for your time. And I'm hoping that you've learned how best to get the right sources to, build your portfolio. On the other side is more music to keep you company. And then at 6, I'll come back to take your reaction to the musings I shared with you earlier on. For you, I'll start making my investments right now.